Look, we need to have a serious conversation about Charlie Sheen right now. And I'm not talking about the tiger blood guy. I'm not talking about the winning memes that broke the internet back in the day. Forget the goddesses, forget the public breakdowns. I'm talking about something completely different. Something that honestly shocked me to my core. Charlie Sheen just did an interview that left me speechless. This wasn't some promotional fluff piece. This wasn't damage control. This was a man sitting down and having what might be the most brutally honest conversation I've ever seen from a Hollywood star. We're talking raw vulnerability, shocking self-awareness, and admissions that will make your jaw drop. He's promoting a new documentary about his life, and let me tell you, what came out of his mouth during this interview changes everything we thought we knew about his story. I've been following celebrity culture for years, and I can usually spot the fake vulnerability from a mile away. But this felt different. This felt like watching someone finally tell the truth about their own life after decades of everyone else telling it for them. And today, I'm going to break down every single moment of this interview because it reveals something profound about redemption, pain, and the possibility of hope when you thought all hope was lost. The interviewer starts with a question that immediately sets the tone. She asks him what it was like watching all these people from his past, his ex-wife, his friends, even his drug dealer, talk about his journey in this documentary. What was the hardest thing for him to hear? Now, if this was the old Charlie Sheen, we'd probably get some defensive rant or deflection, but what he says next completely caught me off guard. He doesn't get defensive, he doesn't dismiss anything. Instead, he gets reflective in a way that honestly made me uncomfortable because it was so genuine. He admits they didn't focus too heavily on the really dark stuff, because most of it was dealt with when it happened. But then he says something that just hits you like a truck. I could still see some of the pain in some of the people. I could still see in Denise a little bit that the stuff left a mark, you know? Hold up. Let's just pause here for a second. It left a mark. This isn't the bombastic, unapologetic Charlie we remember. This is a man looking at his ex-wife, Denise Richards, and acknowledging that his actions scarred her. He's not making excuses. He's not minimizing it. He's calling it exactly what it is, damage that he caused. That level of accountability from someone who spent years avoiding any responsibility, that's huge. But he doesn't stop there. He immediately follows up with something that shows he's not wallowing in guilt either. He says, but that's all right. That's what part of this process is about, you know? Just meeting it all head on. This guy's telling us that the entire point of this documentary isn't to make himself look good or rewrite history. It's about confronting the truth, looking it directly in the eye, and not flinching. That's the foundation of any real comeback story. Not pretending the past didn't happen, but understanding its weight and choosing to carry it differently. Then he makes this incredibly self-aware comment that blew my mind. He basically says that a story like his, with all its crazy twists and turns, shouldn't be being told or narrated by the guy it's about. Think about that for a second. He's acknowledging that he knows how this looks. The guy whose life was a complete disaster is now telling you the story of that disaster. And usually that ends in another disaster. He's completely aware of what we're all thinking as we watch this. He knows we're conditioned to expect the worst from him. But he's here trying to show us that maybe this time is genuinely different. This brings us to the big question. Why now? Why this project? Why open yourself up to this level of scrutiny? And his answer reveals everything about his motivation. He talks about how for years he's been watching other people tell his story. Tabloids, news cycles, late-night TV jokes. Everyone had their version of what happened to Charlie Sheen. And he says something that really resonated with me. I've gathered enough over the years to never feel like they've really got the real facts and the order of events. Do you understand what he's saying here? For over a decade, Charlie Sheen's life story has been told by literally everyone except Charlie Sheen. His life became public property, reduced to sound bites and memes and where are they now segments. People built entire careers commenting on his breakdown. And he's finally saying enough. He's taking back the narrative. He says, I thought the only way to write the record, or at least deliver the truth, is to tell it myself.
That's not just about setting the record straight, that's about reclaiming your own life. He's taking the pen back from all the gossip columnists and critics who've been writing his story for years. And here's what really gets me. He mentions that he was writing a book at the same time they were filming this documentary. So he was completely immersed in reliving his past, digging through all the good, bad, and absolutely horrific moments, not just for himself, but for the entire world to see. Can you imagine the mental strength that takes? To voluntarily dive back into the darkest chapters of your life and expose them publicly? That takes serious courage. But then, the interview gets even more personal, and this is where I actually got emotional watching it. The interviewer brings up his daughter Lola, who's in the documentary. She asks what it was like to not only have his daughter participate, but to hear her speak honestly about how difficult it was to have a relationship with him during certain periods. And right here, you see him completely change. His whole demeanor shifts. He gets quiet. You can literally see the weight of that question hit him like a physical blow. He starts to stammer, and you can tell he's fighting back genuine emotion. He begins to say, sorry, and then trails off completely. He's struggling with something real, something deep. In that one moment of vulnerability, you see more authentic emotion than in all his wild rants from 2011 combined. But then he pulls himself together, and what he says next is honestly the most beautiful part of this entire interview. He talks about having a choice. He says, I can get lost in that sadness, or I can look at today and how we got through all that and where we've arrived and what we're able to maintain today. This is it right here. He's choosing the present over the past. He's choosing to focus on the healing instead of just the hurt. He doesn't ignore the sadness or pretend it doesn't exist. He acknowledges it fully, but he refuses to drown in it. And the way he talks about his daughter will absolutely destroy you in the best way possible. He calls her a precious presence in the film and says she's like this light, this precious light, and she delivers things with such clarity, her truth in a way that I found just quite disarming and engaging, and all things Lola. A precious light. A father who has been through absolute hell looks at his daughter and sees a precious light. That phrase alone tells you everything you need to know about where his head is at now. He's not just proud of her, he's in complete awe of her. He respects her truth, even when that truth is painful for him to hear. This isn't about his comeback or his career or public redemption. This is about a father recognizing the incredible grace his daughter possesses after having to navigate the chaos he created. It's profoundly moving. The conversation continues, and the interviewer asks about his other daughter, Sammy, who's also in the public eye. His answer is refreshingly honest and relatable. He basically admits that there comes a point where your kids just aren't going to listen to your advice anymore. It's such a simple, humble admission that every parent can understand. He's not trying to be the wise guru dispensing life lessons. He's just a dad who wants his kid to succeed and loves her. It's real, it's clean, and it's human. Then we hit a major milestone. Charlie just turned 60. The interviewer asks what his wish is for this next year of his life. And once again, his answer is all about the future, about building something new rather than dwelling on the past. He hopes these projects, the book and documentary, will generate some new and original and exciting and challenging opportunities. He doesn't know exactly what form that will take, but then he says something that gave me actual chills. He says, I can feel the tide shifting. I can feel the worm turning. The stuff I'm reading now is the stuff I used to read. Holy crap! The tide shifting. That's the feeling of a genuine second chance. After years of being a punchline, of being considered unemployable or too much of a risk, he's starting to get quality scripts again. Not just any scripts, the good stuff. The kind of material he used to get before everything went sideways. He's essentially telling us that his work to set the record straight is actually working. Hollywood is starting to see him as an actor again, not just a cautionary tale. And he connects it all by saying so much of this stuff had to happen to get to right now. It's that classic idea of needing to hit rock bottom to find your way back up. But he's not romanticizing the bottom, he's acknowledging its role in getting him to this hopeful place. This leads to what might be the most introspective question of the entire interview. The interviewer asks him when he thinks about his journey to 60, Is there any version of Charlie from his past that would be surprised to know he even made it here? He smiles, and I mean a genuine, thoughtful response, not a media-trained response. His answer completely caught me off guard. He doesn't say the partying Charlie of the 2000s. He doesn't mention the winning Charlie of 2011. Instead, he says, maybe the kid me, maybe the child me, who was scared of so many things and wanted to hide from the entire world. That answer is absolutely profound. The version of himself he thinks would be most shocked isn't any of the public personas we remember. It's the scared little boy inside. This suggests that all the bravado, all the wild behavior, all the chaos we witnessed for decades might have just been an elaborate mask for that frightened child who wanted to disappear. By making it to 60, by surviving everything he put himself through, he's proven to that little kid that he didn't have to hide forever. He could face it all.